Hi, it's me again with Corel Draw tips and tricks. And a couple of days ago, I made a video about how to produce this flex hinge or living hinge. And I went out to the shop just now and cut it out. It's going to work. I would change it up a little bit. I mean, if this thing is only almost 6 inches long and it wrapped around that smaller wrap without breaking or falling apart. Now, it is a little loose if you're going to do, because we only have one section holding it at the bottom. So this is what this video is about. After you've drawn something like this and you like it, you need to add another section. I'm going to hit P, put it in the center of the page. I'm going to take a 2-point line and I'm going to draw a 2-point line. I'm going to put it in P and put it in the center of the page. And then I'm going to find out what my nudge factor is. And that's 5.6. So I'm going to make my nudge factor 6 inches. And I'm going to take my virtual segment delete key and delete this top half, all of it. And so you need to kind of zoom in, and if you come from the top downward, you normally can get them all, and we got them all. That's what we wanted. Now we can actually take this line away. That's probably the top line I just happened to miss. Whoop, go to Object, break curve apart, or ungroup it, and so you can get that part out of the way. And for the person, I'm going to give you this file or send you this file. The only thing you'll have to do is put some sort of locking clasp on it. This could be used for, around like a cup or a bangle. So now what we're going to do, we're going to Control D and duplicate this guy. And I just opened up somebody's page and I need to set this to 0, 0. So Control D and duplicate, and then mirror it. Well, let's find out how big it is. It's 0.75 inches big. 0.758, I believe it was. Let's make sure that was right. Yep. Let's make sure we don't have a duplicate yet, and we do. So let's kind of back up here where we only have one copy of it. We only have one copy of it because you don't want two lines. So we're probably going to have to change our nudge distance to 0.758. Let's go ahead and group it, Control G and group it, and then Control D and duplicate it and mirror it the other way, and then nudge it up. And what I do now have is the exact same thing I had earlier. It's in the right exact spot. But what I want to do, I want to put every other one of these lines, I want to cut something out. So now I'm going to set my nudge factor on like 0.1. And I'm going to take my group and nudge it up. So now I've got a 0.1. I might be a little bit too thick. Tell you what, we can go back to 0.05, nudge it back down half that distance, because that's about what we want. We don't want to offset the dog bones too much. And then we can take the rectangle tool and draw a rectangle from here to here, because we want, you know what, we don't even have to do that. All we're going to have to do is we need the outside lines to meet. And to do this now, I'm going to have to go up here and ungroup it to get the shape tool to work. And I'm going to take my shape tool and I'm going to join that right there. So I'm going to join every other line. Because what's going to happen, it's going to give us sometimes that happens. And you could do this several ways, and you could have picked another line, but you want to get that outside line so it cuts completely out. And if you'll we could actually do this another way. Maybe you'll learn another little trick, go from that node to that node. And well, we know it's 0.05 because that's what I set the nudge factor at. So what we can do, we've still got our 0.05 nudge factor. We can take that shape, select it, and nudge it down. We don't have to do anything but nudge it. You just want to make sure you do every other line. You don't want to do every line because then it would just cut and fall apart. So if you do this to every other line, grab that, grab that. So basically we're doing the ones on the tail, on the dog's bone itself. And let me back up here and make sure we're on the right one. So we're doing the dog bone. And all I'm doing is just, and I don't have to do all these, but it's this easy. I'm just holding my hand on the down arrow key. Now, these lines are going to cut out differently, but you can join them together. And for the person I'm sending this file to, the way I made this thing, it's going to cut sporadically around it, but it's a 5-minute cut. Unless you're going to do a lot of them, you need to fix that and have it cut in a better order. But I just wanted to show them what they could do. And like I said, the only thing you need to do is make some sort of clasp for it. And this one you do want to do the same thing because we want a complete line. And now, so you made it a little bit bigger. Now you're 1.5 inches thick, which would be a good bangle. And then you just need to figure out your length. And I made a video the other day on how to duplicate this and make it longer. So just work on cutting this out now. It's going to be a little better. It's going to be a little stronger. So it's going to have a mid-joint brace to keep it from doing this too bad, because we're going to have a joint. See here, we've only got a joint there and a joint there. Now we're going to have a joint right here. So it's going to keep it from doing this, which isn't terrible because it really stayed apart. I mean, it stayed together good. And if you've never worked with a living hinge, it's kind of fun. Now I did not sand this. You would need to sand it in and out. But this is just 1/8 inch plywood. And I'm going to send you this file. And then you can make it whatever size you want. You could double it, thickness. You could double the length. And, you could do exactly what I did, cutting in half. You could cut it here or just duplicate more. And I might even make a second video on how to make it longer. So once you know this file works, you're good to go. Anyway, hope that helped a little bit. Thank you for watching.